We had
So,
a little video made because the conversation of opening up seller finance to somebody is so much for them to comprehend, especially when we're trying to talk on the phone. If they have no idea about it, it's kind of like, wait, what? So we ended up having Fiverr make a little video explainer on how creative finance works. And we typically say, hey, I'm here to show you all the possible solutions for, how I can help you with your property. And one of those is a cash offer. Another solution would be to list it, as an agent. And I am a licensed agent, but we also have what we call creative finance, and it would allow us to pay a little more on your property. Let me send you a video. And once you watch it, we can chat about it again. That way they can watch it and kind of get a visual and an understanding with it.
uh-huh.
I think it's only about 3 minutes long. Let me see if I have
Oh,
it.
that is pretty cool.
Yeah, it
Fiverr,
really helped us a lot because having that conversation on the phone, people are like, you want to do what? You want to take over my payments, but it stays in my name?
yeah, it's foreign to most people. The thought of doing something like that is very foreign.
Let me see if I got this. Let's see, download. Let me see how long this is. I think it's only 3 or 4 minutes. Um, we have one for seller carryback and one for subject to, and somebody on Fiverr made them. I might have to check and see who that was, but I think that would help. And
in this short video, I'm going to explain the seller carryback financing strategy and why this may be the perfect way to sell your property while getting the price and terms that work for you and your buyer. A seller carryback is simply owner-provided financing, where the seller of a piece of real estate acts as the bank. This strategy, carrying back a note, can be a useful real estate tool for both the seller and buyer. Seller carrybacks are becoming increasingly popular in today's economy as getting traditional home loans from banks becomes more challenging. Here's how it works. When a homeowner wants to sell his house but has trouble getting enough qualified buyers, the seller can carry back the note on his own house. One, the buyer and the seller sign a promissory note. This note says the buyer promises to pay a specific amount of money with a specific interest rate at a specific time. Sounds like a mortgage. The only difference is that instead of making payments to a bank, the buyer makes monthly payments to the seller. Two, the seller moves out, transfers title, and collects monthly payments from the buyer. The seller acts like the bank, holding the note and collecting payments. If at any time the buyer stops making monthly payments, the seller has the opportunity to legally foreclose and take the property back. He can then try to sell the property in a conditional sale or carry back a note again. Now, there are 5 amazing reasons why a seller that owns a property, free and clear, would consider carrying back the note. 1, your money is secure. When you carry back a note, your note is secured by a first position lien deed of trust or mortgage on the real estate you are selling. So, in the event the buyer stops paying, you can simply foreclose on the property and take it back. 2, no more dealing with tenants or toilets. When you carry back a note, you are no longer the title holder of the property. Your buyer is, so they are responsible for any and all repairs, dealing with tenants, collecting rents, and making monthly payments to you. 3, you get the price you want. Typically, the reason you would carry back a note is because you were getting the price you want for the property instead of selling it at a big discount. In exchange, you work with your buyer on giving them good terms, and everyone comes out a winner. 4, it's a simple, fast way to sell a property. Real estate investors are easy to deal with. No repairs are needed. All the paperwork will be handled by the investor or the closing agent. No commissions or closing costs are typically associated with this type of sale. And since there are no banks involved, the approval process is as easy as a few conversations between you and the buyer. But you can sell your note to other investors. There are actually a whole bunch of investors with deep pockets looking to buy performing notes. So if you ever had to sell your note to get quick cash in your pocket, there are a lot of people willing to cash you out. Now, there is a downside to seller financing that was mentioned earlier. If the buyer stops making their mortgage payments to you, you will have to foreclose on the property to get your collateral back. This process is time-consuming and can be costly, but we have an amazing track record, have never been foreclosed on, and would be willing to sign a deed in lieu of foreclosure in the event the mortgage payments go into severe default. So now that you know the benefits and downsides of doing a seller carryback, let me give you a simple example of a property sold through a carryback. Let's say Sarah wants to sell her property that was built in the 1980s and she has owned for 20 years. She paid off the property and now owns it free and clear. Let's say the house is worth $100,000, but it needs at least $20,000 in repairs. She wants to sell it for $90,000, and all the offers she has received so far are way too low, and she's getting frustrated. That's when clever investor Bob comes and asks Sarah if she would be interested in getting creative and carrying back the note. Sarah says she's interested, and Bob asks Sarah what her goals were. First, Sarah wants to help out her parents and needs about $5,000 for that. Plus, she really wants to buy a new car and estimated she needed $10,000 for that. So, after listening to Sarah, Bob offers Sarah $90,000 for her property, paid as follows: $15,000 as a down payment, the rest to be paid in equal monthly payments until paid off. Sarah loves the idea of getting the cash she needs up front, plus mailbox money every month, so she happily accepts Bob's offer. And Bob and the closing agent create all the necessary paperwork to create the note and secure Sarah's loan to Bob. And this is a simple example of a seller carryback. And cool thing about this creative financing strategy is there are many ways to create a win-win scenario that makes sense to both the buyer and the seller.
Pretty cool, huh?
This is freaking amazing, Alice. You are a superstar. Oh my gosh. I'm just like, wow. How much did Fiverr charge you to make something like this?
I think it was around $200. It wasn't a lot. Everything in real estate's expensive.
Oh
But
my,
I think it was $200 or $250.
oh, this is amazing. So what is your process with this? I mean, how do you like walk me through when, like, as if I was a prospect and you wanted to send me the video because I didn't understand
We
seller.
send them the video before we even try to talk about it at all, because we
Oh.
realize that people just close themselves off because fear of, if something you don't understand, people are always going to say no to. Even if it's something good, if they don't understand, they're going to say no. And so
Mhm.
rather than having them put their wall up, we send that video fairly quickly. Say, hey, check it out, and then let's talk again. And we tried to address the biggest issue is what if you stop paying? And so on all of our sub-2 deals, and we have them nationwide, we sign a deed in lieu, and we sign it at closing, and the escrow company, the title company or attorney holds it in escrow.
Oh,
So
okay.
if we miss that second payment, the 60 days, then it they don't have to worry about paying for foreclosure or going through that process. It would automatically revert back to them. And so that seems to have been the biggest hangup, obviously, with sellers. You know, what happens if you don't pay? I don't want to pay for foreclosure, and we can't foreclose because of COVID right now, and I don't understand real estate enough to do that anyway. So we fix that by signing that deed in lieu ahead of time, saying, hey, if we miss the 60 day, for 60 days late and miss that second payment, this is already in place, and the property will revert back to you. So we use a servicer for all of our sub-2 deals. We don't pay directly to the seller. We have it go through our title company here. They only charge us, is very minimal. I think it's $20 a month for the servicing.
That's not bad. That's not bad at all.
And then they've got a website that either party can log in and see what day the payment was received and what day title sent it to the lender. So it just makes sure, it takes care of that. What if I pay the seller and they don't pay the mortgage, which happened to me in real life on a house that's I tried to buy years ago and move in. I was self-employed with real estate, and we bought a house. These people were behind, moved in it, and then ended up getting foreclosure notices in the mail.
Oh, wow.
And so I called, and they were just putting the rent money in their pocket. They weren't paying the mortgage. So we ended up moving out. We decided we didn't need a house that big. I don't know why I ever thought I needed one that big. It was a 5,500 square foot house.
Oh, that's huge.
I know the things you do when you're, I had to have been 24, 25 years old. And now I'd be super happy with, I just like a small house. I just want my privacy and no HOA.
Yeah, that's me
So,
too. That's me too. And you know what? And I know a lot of people, they put what's called a performance deed, a
mhm,
performance clause in the deed, just to say that if they don't make the payments on the 31st day of the month,
yep.
that the property will get deeded back to them without any foreclosure process.
Yes, that's what ours is. A performance deed's just another word for it.
Right, right, right.
So it's typically that takes care of their issues
Uh-huh.
with doing that type transaction. I do think that that's where the money is and where it's going to be as soon as the market neutralizes. And I think it's going to be strong this year. I'm not even trying to call when the market may or may not neutralize, but when it does, for the last many years, people could buy a house and sell it the very next year because they have enough to cover commissions and prices were going up that fast. But
Mm-hmm.
when it neutralizes, they're going to have other ways to exit that property because you still move, people still get divorced, people still, have job transfers. And sometimes you just can't, you don't have enough equity even to cover commissions and things. So I think that getting really good at creative deals is one of the best ways to prepare to
I agree.
capitalize on that.
I agree. I agree. And listen, how can I get your contact number for the Fiverr video? Because I would really love to implement or incorporate something like that on my end because I'm just not having the success. I don't have a VA right now, anybody making the calls. I'm making the calls and doing all the follow-up and everything on my own. And I just feel like I need to do something different, because you know what insanity is. So I don't need to even explain that to you.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
I can find, do you
help?
have a Facebook?
I do have a Facebook. It's my name, Deanna Gerald, which is one word. .in. What? Oh, I'm giving you my email. I gotta wake up.
I can email you, Deanna Gerald.
But it's just Deanna B Gerald. That's my Facebook. It's my middle name, Deanna B, and then Gerald.
Okay. Yeah, we have some good VAs too. Yeah, I have a lot of experience using VAs, and because I used to own a cold calling company, and I will admit that Los Angeles as well as Phoenix is a little bit of a tough market, but I always had male callers out of the Philippines, and I thought they were pretty good, but we recently got a couple female callers out of the Philippines, and I feel like people respond better to a female voice. I do. They're less rude and more open to talking. I don't know if they think that they're going to, take advantage of a female or what it is, but we've had better luck and better results with her. Her voice is a little bit clearer, but she's got a handful of other girls that work with her, and we only hired one at this time. We've got two local callers that we're splitting part of the wholesale fee with, but yeah, when you get back to the place of needing to hire somebody, I probably can get a name from her of somebody that has some experience. I know it's hard. Hiring VAs is hard. They either have no work ethic, or their English isn't quite clear enough, or they don't have an understanding of the real estate conversation.
Yeah, that's what I've been up against because I've actually had 4 VAs so far. I'm actually just taking a break. I can't even begin to tell you all the things that I've encountered with dealing with VAs. So I just decided to just take a break. I've had to wake 2 of them up when they were supposed to be cold calling. So I've kind of, that part.
And were they using Mojo or Call Tools or Zen Call? What were they using?
They was using Call Tools, and then I had them connected to Hubstaff. So I already knew when they weren't being active and when they weren't logging in and stuff like that. That was one of the things that I, put in place because I just wanted to be able to work with the VA and see if I could trust them. And then eventually I would have gotten rid of the hub staff. Have you ever used hub staff?
I don't. I'm interested in it. What is that?
Hub staff is basically tracking their movement when they should be at work. It tells you whether or not they are logging onto Facebook or doing other things besides calling. It tracks their movement of their mouse movement, their clicking, whether or not they're pausing the keyboard, so it's all that is set up.
So it's kind of like Time Doctor. Time Doctor does it too.
Yeah, I just recently heard about Time Doctor. I think it was last week.
Time Doctor made my computer really slow. My employer, the education company, used to have that on everybody's computer, but it made everything super laggy and slow. So I wonder if Hubstaff's any different. That's interesting. Our biggest breakthrough, and it actually wasn't myself that came up with it. I had worked with the VAs over a year before I had talked with another friend like I'm talking to you. And he said, I figured out what it is, why they're not converting. And I said, what is it? He said that when you've got a international VA, he said a lot of them lack empathy. He said, so they're in a phone call and somebody says, yes, I want to sell this house. My mom just passed away and it's time to sell. They're saying, okay, well, tell me about the house. Instead of saying, I'm so sorry to hear that.
I'm so
Instead
sorry
of
for your
making that
loss.
connection, they're missing. They're going straight to the kill and tell me about the house and how soon do you want to sell it? Instead of, I'm sorry to hear that. How's your family holding up? That type thing. And so when he said that, I was like, how did I miss this? I couldn't believe that I'd been listening to calls and because I am that personality too, straight to the business. I have to set myself back and say, remember, I do care. I just don't speak it a lot and I'm straight to the business too. And so it didn't occur to me, but my friend is in his last year of doctorate school. And so they had a whole semester on empathy training for when patients come in. Obviously, they have to show empathy very quick and build that rapport and take down all these issues and come up with a solution. Same thing we do in real estate, just help. So.
I've had some doozies. I'm telling you, I've had some times where I had to adjust the VA's time in order to kind of test out whether or not we would get more leads in the afternoon versus the morning. And whenever I do the shift with them, it would get lost in translation where they would only work 1 hour. Oh, well, you said you were changing my shift. Well, okay, you already know that I'm hiring you to work 4 hours. So why did you work 1 hour today? And why are you taking late lunches? Why are you taking 15 breaks? So it got to be just really frustrating. And I was just like, oh my God, I can't do this. So I ended up, letting, I got my VAs through VA Mastery. And I just had to let them know, it's just not working out because I think what I do is that because I'm a sensitive and caring person, I give them too many chances. But then when I listen to other people that are in business, they say, oh, 3 strikes and you're out. And I'm just like, maybe that's the problem, But this last VA, like for 5 weeks straight, I had to keep on telling her what the 4 pillars were. And it's just like, I just can't keep on taking time away from my business, training you on what the 4 pillars are when I've been training you for 5 weeks on what the 4 pillars are. You already should know this. We should be able to move past this. So my level of frustration just got crazy. And I was just like, you know what? I'm trying to make something work that's not going to work. So it's time for me to release that person. And I released her.
And those callers, your callers were all out of the Philippines?
Yes.
I've got friends that have moved and using callers out of Mexico right now. Of course, we have a large Spanish-speaking population here, and they seem to have a little more empathy or understanding of American culture or how to how to hold the conversation. And so that's also, I don't personally have any callers out of Mexico, but I do think it's an option. Do you have a large Hispanic population in Los Angeles?
Oh, yes, most definitely. Most
Yeah,
definitely.
and I so need to learn Spanish. They're the best buyers for seller finance. I had another friend flip a mobile home. There's a lot of money in mobile homes, which I have a hard time with because in Tennessee, a yucky mobile home is $30,000 or $40,000. Here, a yucky mobile home is 150. Like, and it
Oh,
still
that's a
needs
big
work. You know what I mean?
difference. Yeah, that's
Yeah,
a
and
big
so
difference.
they're fixing them up. I've got friends making $70,000, $80,000 flipping mobile homes, and they're fixing them up. And then more than likely, that buyer has an I-10 number, not a social security number, but they have cash because sometimes a couple families live together. A lot of them are self-employed, like landscapers,
Yeah.
construction, and
Mhm.
they put $70,000 down. They were like, "Here's 70,000 down, and you carry the
Sheesh.
130." And I was like, "Okay, I am missing out on a whole segment
Yeah.
of the population that this works really well for."
Yeah, I
So
usually go ahead.
no. So I've got to get on the ball with somebody to market to them and work on that, because I have been told multiple times like that your biggest buyer are the people that don't have socials, but they have I-10 numbers and they've got the money.
Yeah,
So
that's true. And you put me on game because for a lot of the leads that I had, I was sending them to somebody else that spoke Spanish out here. But as far as I know, nothing ever became of it. But a
that's
lot
what
of
they
those,
told you about.
right,
Yeah.
right. They probably kept them for themselves. So, but I got to figure this
Yeah.
thing out because I have my call tools set up. I've been skip tracing. In fact, I just skip traced a very large list for Gary, Indiana, because I heard that's where it's at right now. And it's where most people are, just because there's so much land. Like I looked it up in PropStream last night, and it's so many vacant properties, and there's so many properties out there. So I said, okay, well, since I'm still gonna drive for dollars out here, and because I'm still a real estate agent here, I'm gonna work this market.
Right.
But it's gonna be my primary market, but then my secondary market will be virtual. Just out of
You're
state.
kind of like me. I keep working this market too because I can convert them to listings even if I can't get them cheap enough. But I have those virtual markets too. Gary, Indiana is a good market. I think I've got two contacts there. One of them's an end buyer. So
Okay,
I
I'll keep
think
that in mind.
when we hop on next week, we definitely can go through. I think I need to reset the cookies, but we can look at Gary, Indiana, and try to figure out what part and how to start a new market. I had to start both of those virtual markets in the last 6 months, Birmingham, Alabama, and then the Ohio markets. And so 15 years in, you forget. I mean, yes, I know the process, but when you actually have to do it again, it's like being a realtor and actually having to move again. And it's like, yeah, I remembered, but now I really remember what it involves, how to make the contacts and how do we get the right closing person. And I need to get inspectors and I need to get, the prices are different. You can rehab a house for much less in Gary, Indiana, that you can in Los Angeles or Phoenix.
I know it's crazy, but you know what? I'm dealing with another dilemma too, and I'm just trying to just figure it out. Well, I retired last year. I was a paralegal, so I retired last year from the Los Angeles County Public Defender's Office, and because I wanted to do real estate full time, had been a part-time agent. Started out in January, and I said, okay, well, I can not only be a real estate agent, but an investor. Had 2 listings, closed on the listings, and then COVID hit. So long story short, my business, everything slowed down, and I've been like just in the learning, but I've actually been taking action too. But I have had some properties under contract, but that's neither here nor there. But what I'm trying to say now is that with my husband getting ready to retire in December, we always wanted to relocate. And I'm just like, And I know that we definitely, and if we're going to buy a house using a traditional mortgage, that we have to purchase the house before he
Yep.
retires, because then the income will be less. So we're just trying to figure out, where are we going to live? Are we going to go to Florida, Texas, Nevada? And lately I've been thinking about Arizona, because I was actually in Arizona maybe about 2 months ago. I came to a training conference, which was crazy. I shouldn't have did it, but I did, even during COVID. But anyway, yeah, I'm just trying to figure out, I mean, how long have you been in Arizona?
I've been here 3 years.
Do you like
I
it?
love it. I do. When I left Tennessee to put a little space between the ex-husband, because the new wife wasn't being nice to my child, and
Oh, okay.
the only way I knew to get out of that was to get far away. And I was working remotely for my employer, but they were based out of Phoenix, and so the judge was like, "You're a realtor, you don't have to move." And I was like, "Watch this."
Exactly.
I called my employer and I said, "I need a thing that says if you want to keep your job, you have to move." And moved out here, and for me, it's the best thing I ever did. I don't know the vibe in Los Angeles. It's very laid back in the South. Maybe not Florida, but it's very, everybody's just kind of like, chill, relax. There's not a vibrant business energy. And when I moved here, I felt the energy of the city.
Right.
The best way for me to know to put it. People are like, "What do you mean?" But the energy of the city is very positive. And I had seasonal depression issues in Tennessee. It's always gray. Skies aren't blue like they are out here and probably where you're at. And it rained a lot. And I just found myself feeling kind of not motivated and down and even depressed, especially November, December. So when I came out here and that didn't hit as hard, I was like, man, I gained back at least a couple weeks of my life. And I feel like there's more contacts. There's more people in real estate and doing stuff, and investors.
Right.
Arizona's super investor friendly, and so is Florida.
Yeah.
Of all the states, Florida may be the most investor friendly. Their real estate contracts are assignable. They're very clean. The state realtor contracts are super friendly in Florida.
Yeah, my
best friend was
I'm so glad my husband
Tampa
ain't
market.
here. I'm so glad my husband ain't here. He just went for a walk, but my husband is from West Palm Beach, and I know that he want to go home. I know that he do, and I'm just fighting it. I'm trying to do everything that I can to keep us not here, but away from Florida, which is crazy, because family is family. When you have a crazy family, you want to keep your distance, right? So all of his family is there, but it would put us closer to our daughter. She's in Chesapeake, Virginia. So that is a thought. That is, but it's so you're saying it's more investor friendly than Arizona?
Arizona is too. Our contracts, there's like Batch Lead Stacker. A lot of big names in real estate are out of Phoenix, and a lot of the hedge funds buy here as well. There's a lot of multifamily, which if I didn't have so many single family leads, I would be in multifamily as an agent. I like it. I like the way you can value add to a large apartment complex, and just $100 a month of increase on the rent will make that property value go up so much, because they're basing it on net income, net operating income. But I like it here. I don't think I could be any happier anywhere else in the country. That's how I feel. And I'm in Tempe. I'm not right in Phoenix, but that's 15 minutes outside.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can't see myself living anywhere else unless I'm going to Costa Rica.
I know. I thought about Costa Rica too, but my husband's I'm not leaving the country. But I got to figure it out, because if we did, and I looked at some houses last night on Realtor.com for Phoenix. Well, not Phoenix, but just plain Arizona. And I noticed that the price point is not as high as California. It's not as high as Chesapeake, and it would, like I said, it would keep us closer, because I really need to figure out, what am I going to do with this house? Because we're buying this house here. We've been here for 12 years, and I already know that California is not investor friendly. So it's like, do I sell, which is foolish because most people are saying you never get rid of property. Don't do that. So I don't know if I should sell it in order to get the down payment that I need in order to put on my next property, or whether or not I just should start saving as much as I can, keep this property, rent it out, or I just don't know. I'm just at a crossroads where I just don't know what to do.
Yeah, I am somewhat in the same position just because I went from a 1099 job with the education company and I let it go in December to go all the way real estate investing. But I kind of decided that although I want a single family home with a pool, I'm probably going to try to get a triplex or a fourplex. Because if you buy that first, the mortgage company will count 75% of the rents towards your income. So where you're thinking you might have an income issue, you only have to stay a year. You can get a FHA loan. If you don't have one, it'd mean you have to sell your house, but 3% down. And I can get a three or a fourplex, stay there a year. I definitely don't want to stay long. I don't want to be neighbors to my tenants, but you have to go in that order, because if you buy your primary first, then your debt to income's kind of behind. And this is a very good market for Airbnb as well. So when I get my fourplex, I'll probably keep one unit Airbnb, two of them regular rental way, and then stay in one. The Airbnbs here, especially in the Tempe area, I guess because of the college, a 3-bedroom, 2-bath house with a pool is bringing in $60,000 a year on Airbnb.
Shut the front door, really?
I about died. I went to a list appointment for a friend that lives in Alaska. His daughter and son had Airbnb their house for a year. They moved up to Flagstaff and they decided to go ahead and sell so they could buy some Airbnbs up there. And when I said, well, how much does it make? I about fell on the floor. I was like, are you kidding? And that was with 2 months of COVID. That
is crazy. And it's crazy because, man, I have an interior design background that I never tapped into, a staging background that I never tapped into because of the economy of 2008, 2009. It wasn't stable when I just walked away from it. But I have all these skills that I haven't even tapped into when it comes to interior design. But for the last month and a half, I've been studying and taking webinars because that is something that I would like to do eventually. And then I would love to actually start a transaction coordinating business too. That's something that interests me because of me having the paralegal background. I have two paralegal degrees, and I was a paralegal for over 29 years. So my wheels are turning. My wheels are turning, definitely.
Yeah. And what type of attorney did you work for?
I work for criminal law attorneys. Yeah, but when I do my contracts and when I submit my contracts, I do them myself. I don't use a coordinator, a transaction coordinator. You're freezing. You're frozen. Can you?
Hey, good here. The average. Oh, can you good? Did it connect back?
Okay, yeah.
Sorry.
That's
I know
okay.
sometimes the internet's wonky here. I don't know. The transaction coordinators are paid well here. Most of them are paid $300 a transaction. That's the going rate here, at least at our company. They have somebody you can pay, but I think that's pretty good because most of the time they probably have 4 hours, 5 hours, off and on phone calls and just making it happen. But it's good money. And I definitely think there's a use for it. If you look at Indeed, there's so many people hiring for that. This is not a typical real estate person's skill set to be able to train, organize, and write out processes. We just want to go, do the deal and somebody else do the paperwork. So if you have those skills, I think they're super valuable.
Yeah, for sure. So, but I need to, I was telling my husband that we need to just start traveling. We need to see, but I know that he would really love to move to Florida. His whole concern is that he just want to be around some water. And I don't know how much water is actually in, you guys have what, Lake Havasu? Is that the closest?
Everybody goes to Rocky Point, Mexico. It's a 3.5 hour drive. And I don't know how far it is from you, but it's considered safe. I haven't been personally, but everybody goes to the ocean in Rocky Point.
Yeah.
There's a couple lakes around here, but it's not the same as the ocean.
Yeah, he's a fisherman. He likes to fish. That's his whole thing. He just want to be able to fish. We'll work the business together, but on his off days, he will be somewhere at a lake fishing. So that's why, but I got to figure it out. It'll come together, but yeah, but I would really like to get that recording or get the guy to put one together for me so that maybe that'll make the difference in my business and maybe help to propel me, in the direction that I need to be going in, and so that I can, be able to articulate it better. And sometimes people are visual learners. I'm a visual learner. I have to see it and I have to hear it. And maybe that's one of the things with seniors or people that are my age. I'm 58 years old. So, I understand that I'm not the only one that's a visual learner. People have to see things in black and white or in color in order to really get the, and be able to understand it. I don't know why I keep on looking up at this light instead of looking at the camera. It's crazy. But that's a bad habit. I got to fix it. But
no, that's all right.
Yeah, I would really like
I'm super excited. I can send you that.
Thank you. And if there's anything that I can help you with, just let me know. If you ever need to, maybe use my MLS or, get on the, to do something for Cali, because I don't know if you have access to the MLS out here. I have it. If you ever need me to do a complimentary notary for you, I can do it because I'm a notary out here too.
Oh, very cool.
Yeah, and
there's good money in that too. If you notarize for the title companies, they pay $200 a closing. I have a friend when real estate got slow before all this, and she got her notary. She was doing about 7 or 8 a week at $200 a pop. It made her be able to pay the bills.
Yeah. That's smart. That's smart.
Cool. Okay, I got your info and I'll send it over, and happy to talk with you this morning, and hopefully we'll see you again next Saturday. And if no one comes, we'll just have girl chat and figure it out our own.
We'll have morning coffee, right? My husband, before he went for his walk, he was just like, "Are you the only one on there with her?" I said, "Yeah," and I was just like, "Yes."
Yes. Exactly.
Right, girl time. But it's so nice meeting you. Yep. And you did the badass women presentation though, huh? Because I think I remember you being on there. You presented, right?
I'm working with realtors.
Yeah.
Yep, on Friday. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it was great. It was great.
So people just discount working with agents so much, and we do so many deals with them, and most people want to say, it's not going to be a deal, or a realtor wouldn't have it, but most of them aren't. A lot of them don't know their numbers, and you know what I mean? It's just, there's deals there because they haven't comped it right, or they want their check quick.
But you know what it is too,
whatever
Alice?
The reason is.
You know what it is? It's just that they don't teach us when we get our license anything about real estate investing. And you have brokers that don't want to give you the information. They don't want you because they want you to just focus on bringing in listings and commissions for the company. So we're not trained right. I mean, it wasn't until when COVID hit in March that I really slowed down and I started really learning more on the investor realtor side. But we just don't know. We don't know because we're not taught. But it definitely needs to be taught, because even as, I might be wrong about this, but I think even in comping, in the way that investors comp things, it's a little different than just a regular listing comp, or it's different, and we just don't know. And I agree with you that people talk negative about realtors. And even one of my mentors, he was just always saying, stay away from real estate agents. And I was just like, I'm a real estate agent, so what does that mean? And everybody was saying, oh, well, real estate agents are stupid. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't want to be that helpful because they don't want to lose their commission. And it's not that. You don't know what you don't know, right? Until somebody just like I didn't know anything about your fantastic kick-ass video that you have made.
Right.
You know, and here I am trying to explain it 24/7 every time I get on the phone. When there's an easier way, there's always an easier way. But you don't know what you don't know until somebody exposes you to that. So I'm just going to keep on learning as much as I can. Whatever I learn, I'm happy to share it. You know, but I don't like the negative title that most investors are putting on real estate agents. You know, because it's not fair. You know, it's not fair. But
Yeah, I
yeah.
agree.
Yeah, but anyway, I know it's
I
9
agree.
o'clock, and I know you got to start your day. And I am going to get dressed because I'm gonna go out, and my husband's gonna drive me around. I already have some cards already made out that I'm just gonna leave on doors. If I could, you know, I don't want to do too much door knocking because you know people are leery with COVID coming to their door. But he's gonna drive me around, and I'm gonna take action today. You know, like I do every day, but I'm going to get out there and get some sun in the meantime. But I thank you so much. You're
Yeah,
such a
make
sweet.
it happen.
Yeah, thank you so much. I really
Oh,
appreciate
thank you.
it. Yeah, but I want you to have
All
a
right,
great.
have a super good day.
All right, you too. Okay, bye-bye.
All right, let's both get a deal.
That's
Thanks,
right.
Deanna.
Okay, bye-bye.